And now we're joined by West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder to talk to us about just how vital that is to municipalities. Debbie, welcome to the MegaCast.
Hi, Tyler. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Before we get into the census, I just want to get a little bit of an update on how things are going in West Bloomfield. You're still conducting your work for the township as the clerk. How is West Bloomfield doing right now?
We had filing deadline yesterday. It's been a busy week. It's going to be a busy time in the clerk's office as we are awaiting direction for the August 2nd or August 4th primary. So we're just kind of waiting for direction, but we are working. We are answering phones and available to any residents who need to be served. So if they do call, they will get a person.
And right now, currently, one of the bigger efforts that you're making is informing the community in your municipality about the U.S. Census. So we've probably heard all about the census at some point recently. I've heard you and other community leaders in the area have talked about the importance of residents filling that out. For those unfamiliar, how does the U.S. Census affect municipalities?
It helps shape the future. And one important thing to remember is you get one shot at this every 10 years. So whatever comes back are the numbers that are used for the next 10 years. They affect things like representation in Congress and legislative boundaries and things. So Michigan's looking at losing one seat in Congress in the House of Representatives next year. That also affects the number of delegates to the Electoral College. So it's important from that perspective to a community, but it also has a lot of effect, as you had mentioned right beforehand, and money that comes in, federal funding that comes in for different things like hospitals, libraries, school lunches, things when you talk about hunger. And an important one, like we're experiencing now with disaster, when there's any kind of a problem or a state of emergency, federal dollars are based on your census numbers, as well as being used, the demographics are used to attract businesses based on what your population is. So when you look at all of the things that are predicated on census, not on the population, to not have a good turnout for a census is concerning.
So I recently filled out my census, albeit it was
easy.
Late. It was very easy. I filled it out just absolutely awfully late. And after I did fill it out, I realized that it takes maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're really putting any sort of effort into it, or if you have a family and you have to take an extended survey. But before I got that, I kept getting letters in the mail from the Census Bureau that mentioned that, and this is a quote from it, that the census response is, quote, required by law.
Yes.
Will someone be penalized for not filling out the census form?
The question is are they going to go after those specific things of not filling it out? But it is something that is required by law. There was some hesitation this year because there was a question of the citizenship question that is not on. And another important thing that people do need to know in the township is that by law, your census answers are protected as confidential information for 72 years. So whatever you answer, that demographic data is used to create an overall demographic for a community, but the answers specifically are protected for 72 years. So that's where, do I think they're going to go prosecute people who don't respond? No, I don't think they have the resources to do that, but it is something that is required by law, as is conducting the census itself.
So on a municipal level, for every citizen that is not counted, what does that put at risk as far as community programs, community services?
They've quantified it to be about $18,000 per person that is counted over the 10-year period. It's about $1,800 a year of money that comes in if they were to take account for any kind of federal funding. They're going to base that on, it works out to about $1,800 per person. Now, obviously, as I sent you the graphic, we're just over 66% right now response. And if we have now, the good news is they did extend based on COVID. The deadline was extended from July 31st to October 31st. So it gives us a few extra months to get a higher response rate. Last census, we had about 77% response rate. But again, all of your funding and all of your representation is based on 77% of your population. And I just think West Bloomfield can do better. I know we can. We're an engaged community that cares about our lifestyle, that cares about our resources. And I think that a lot of people do want to get out there and answer the census. And I hope that, they think they're waiting for a letter. And I have spoken with people who never received their letter. You don't have to wait for that letter. You can go online to census.gov. Let me actually make sure I'm giving you the exact correct one. Is 2020census.gov, and you can fill it out without having a letter in hand. It will take the information, and it is critical. Again, funding is based on that percentage that participates, and they're looking for we are looking for a high participation rate. And as that graph I showed you, we're right in the middle. I really do think we should be toward the top of it and know that we can. So I challenge everybody that's out there to please respond to your census, whether it's online, by paper, or by phone. You have all three as options this year.
West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder joining us via Zoom on the MegaCast 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 WBFH The Biff, WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio, and on TV on Civic Center TV, Comcast Channel 15, AT&T Channel 99, and online in HD on CivicCenterTV.com. So to bring it back to West Bloomfield specifically, to your municipality, Debbie, what are some programs in West Bloomfield specifically that are potentially going to be impacted by these census numbers?
Okay, I don't know specifically which federal programs, because some of them come around at emergency times. So a lot of it has to do with emergency funding. Representation in Congress will directly affect West Bloomfield Township, because if the state loses, we're all losing representation, as well as redrawing district boundaries. Legislative and school district boundaries are affected by the census population. I don't believe our household hazardous waste day is, but if we were to declare an emergency and needed funding, it would affect it. And the other important thing, again, is what we use to attract businesses. Businesses, when they decide where they want to locate, are looking for population and demographics that fit the profile of where they want to be. And if we don't have an accurate profile, we're not going to look attractive to the businesses that we may want to attract.
So from a future perspective, the census does impact the future of the community on a business sense, on a recreation sense, and especially in times like these and emergencies, it really does have a big effect on the future going forward several years for those communities.
And that's the important thing, Tyler, I think, is that it's for the next 10 years. You don't get a second shot at it. So whatever numbers are garnered during this census is what they're going to use for the next 10 years. I would like to see us get beyond the 77% from last time. I'd like us to get to 100%, but I know that may not be realistic. But I would like to see it as high of a turnout as possible, because those are the numbers that will affect so many things that do directly or indirectly affect the township and our resources and our lifestyle.
So if anyone in West Bloomfield or even in other municipalities is having issues filling out their census form or getting that information, knowing where to go and what's safe information for them to give, if they have any issues with that, who can they contact for help?
They can call the clerk's office and we can guide them to the right place. Again, it's not being done at a local level. It's being done at the federal government. So in terms of actually helping them, we can't provide that assistance, but we can make sure that they're going to the correct website and interacting with the correct questionnaire, so they're filling out information that is accurate and being directed to the right census organization that will protect it for 72 years. So that, I would say, call the clerk's office, or the easiest thing is to go to 2020census.gov. And there are so many resources available there, and so much information on how the data is used, why it's important, how it affects my community. There's all sorts of graphics to help people get out and share on their social media to help engage others to get involved. So I would say the best place to start is 2020census.gov. Another great place, like the graphic I sent you, was SEMCOG, the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. They have that nice little tracker that shows where we are in the middle of that pack, but they have a lot of links to good information too. So I would say that those are two of your most reputable places to look for census information: 2020census.gov and the SEMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments website.
So we're just running just a couple more minutes left to go in the show, Debbie. So before we go, one thing that's that maybe thought of when you think of the census is the people that are going out and canvassing door to door for those that don't fill out online. During this unprecedented time, are we going to be seeing canvassers going out anytime soon? Or is the Census Bureau, do you know if that's going to be happening at all?
That's a great question, Tyler. And that was one of the things that originally they were going to be coming door to door regardless. They did delay that as well. But I think that will be addressed as things continue to progress with COVID. But their intent is to go door to door to those who have not responded via email or via the website or phone or the online. So they will start to go door to door. So that should be a good motivator, that if you don't want people coming door to door, respond online or via the phone, and you won't get a visit at your door. I would reiterate that those visits are going to be delayed based on COVID, but they will be coming out in the field and doing those numbers. They have all sorts of engaged census workers and community field organizers trying to get the maximum count for each community. And they will be out trying to get those door to door for people who are called non-responders, non-self-responders. They are looking to increase, though, the self-response rates. And the number I sent you is the self-response rate so far.
All right. Debbie Binder, West Bloomfield Township Clerk, thank you for joining us on the MegaCast 89.3 Lakes FM and lakesfm.com, as well as on Civic Center TV, talking about the census. It's absolutely huge, people. To fill out the U.S. Census, it impacts your community. $1,800 per person was the rate that Debbie had said was about the estimated rate of how much of an impact it can have on your community. You have an October 31st deadline. You can fill it all out online. This impacts your community for the next 10 years. Debbie, just a moment. She has one more little thing to chime in here. Debbie, what's that you had to say?
For anybody who doesn't follow the clerk's office Facebook page, do follow that, because I'm working really hard to keep that updated with information on the census, as well as the link to the census.2020census.gov is always on there.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Debbie. We've enjoyed having you on the MegaCast, and we'll talk to you very soon. Debbie Binder, the West Bloomfield Township Clerk.